Woo! Welcome to Made in Bloomsbury. I'm here with Estelle. Hi,
Hi.
Estelle.
Hi everyone. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. Estelle, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Maybe a quick bio?
Yeah, sure. So, I'm Estelle. I currently run a tech platform which helps first-time drivers manage their vehicle expenses, their parking fines. And I actually came up with this because I started driving when I was 20 in the UK, and I got into a bit of debt actually because of the mismanagement of my car. Now, I come from an entrepreneurial background, so like most of my family, if not everyone in my immediate family, have their own company or business. So when I first when I was growing up, I always had like business ideas. But this one was such a problem for me in terms of the amount of parking fines I was receiving, not knowing how to do my MOT. I got stopped by the police for not having my tax done, things like that when I first started driving. And people tried to warn me, but I don't know. I just didn't expect it to be that difficult when starting out. So then it came up with my idea for KARR, to come up with a platform to help people manage their fines, manage their vehicle expenses. And my brother, who at the time was the experienced driver, I asked him if something like this had already existed because I wanted to use it. And he said, no, but you should make it. And then from there, the journey just kind of went on. But yeah.
Nice. So, what inspires you to do what you do?
Good question. What inspires me? I think I'm naturally a problem solver. I feel like the way I look at the world, um, I'm always trying to fix something or I'm looking at a solution within something. In terms of what inspires me to like actually pursue it and do it, I'm very proactive. Like I always want to be doing something. I love a project. I love the idea of coming up with something and then coming up with a plan and then executing it. Um, and I don't know, I think I've always kind of been like that. I've kind of always just had this innate want to 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 make things better or to find a solution and execute it. I've never really been good at just like having a job where you just do the kind of like the same thing over and over again. Like I like the diversity and in being an entrepreneur and just coming up with businesses, I think. Yeah.
Okay, nice, nice. What made you want to be an entrepreneur?
Mm, what made me want to be an entrepreneur? I think I always knew I was going to be one. Um, okay, this is going to sound a little bit like pretentious or a little bit cheeky. I don't think there's any job like, working for someone, any job that I've had that I felt like, oh, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Or there was no job that made me feel like, oh, I'm such a, like, I'm just going to climb this ladder or I'm just going to stay in this job and da da da. I just never, I always felt like there wasn't any job that challenged me enough apart from being an entrepreneur. So I knew even if I had a job, I was always going to have something of my own on the side because it just pushed me every single time. So I always knew, like, yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay. Now, most of entrepreneurship requires a lot of capital,
Mm.
as you know. So, what is raising capital like, or what has it been like for you?
See, that's the thing. I feel like that's the one blocker for entrepreneurs nowadays, when it comes to capital. Not every obviously not everybody can be an entrepreneur because then you'll just have loads of people throwing away or wasting money all the time. But when you do get to a place in your journey when you like me, you figured out this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create something and I'm going to build it and build a team and find a solution. capital is probably the most important thing that you're gonna need. Um, and in the UK, I think raising capital as an entrepreneur is extremely difficult. I think there needs to be more done for this job role. And I think if it's seen more as a job role, then there'll be more support. Um, I feel like if I could give advice in terms of being an entrepreneur and raising capital, I'll say definitely keep faith. Like, have faith that you will raise, have faith that people believe in what you're building, and that, or that you believe in it enough that others will want to invest in it. I do think that you need to be prepared to bootstrap for as long as possible, until raising kind of happens for itself. So almost as if bootstrap and do as much as you can by yourself that it makes enough noise to make raising a little easier. Yeah.
Okay, points taken. On the theme of advice, if there was advice you'd give to someone else, what would that be?
Uh, I would say testing. I think entrepreneurs and having an entrepreneurial spirit, we often solve the problem for ourselves. I think if I could go back and change things, I would involve others more because you're building something that's not just going to be for yourself, right? Like when you're building a company, when you're building a business, you build it off a market, you build it with people in mind. And I think making sure that they're part of the process is important. You could learn so much from others and their inputs that it doesn't it doesn't have to feel like you need to figure everything out yourself. A lot of the time, if you use your community, if you use the people around you, talk about it for a good amount of time, you'll find that there are things that you didn't look at, there are things that you didn't see. And I think that makes all the difference in the beginning. If you can kind of get that out in the beginning, test it, talk about it, and then build, that will save you a lot of time and a lot of mistakes. I think that would be my number one advice.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on, Estelle,
No
and all
worries.
the best in your entrepreneurial journey.
Thank you. Thank you so much.